I've always been the instigator of getting people into Dungeons and Dragons because for me, I didn't have another person that introduced the game to me. It was, well, more specifically, I had this amazing little book and comic book store in my hometown. And I remember the owner of the store being like, you're into Magic the Gathering and Warhammer and all these things. Maybe you would like this. And so I picked up the starter set, which at the time was 3rd edition. I was in high school and immediately was like, this is amazing. And I brought it all to my friends who were playing Magic and Warhammer and stuff and been like, this is so exactly what we've always wanted. And so like I was the high school instigator of that. And I just always remember like waiting with bated breath whenever that store would get like the next issue of like Dungeon or Dragon magazine. And that for me was like my introduction to D&D. So it was very much like in my basement as the instigator. So I always wonder like, how did you both start playing?
I wanted to play when I was a kid, when I was younger. But I always joke, D&D is like the nerdiest game ever created, but it requires friends. And I had no friends when I was younger, a little sad, but also part of the joke. And so I always had this interest and just couldn't find my way in. And so I was one of those people who felt like, why is this so hard? Why is there such a gate on this game in a way? And so as an adult, I was about 25, my manager at the time played. And when I mentioned it to him, he'd been playing since the 80s, just for decades. So he ran a game for me and my friends. We all fell instantly in love. That campaign went on for 3 years, and then I started writing my own. And my goal has always been to strip away as many of the things that are in the way of getting started with this, whether that is needing other people to play with you, or feeling like it's too big and too much material, or feeling like you're not smart enough, or not good at math, or not a good role player. Whatever the thing is that you think you can't do, this game has so many aspects to it that if you have any proficiency at like 2 of the 5 things, you can play this game extraordinarily. There is no wrong way to do it. And so just wanting to be a champion of that and kind of never have another kid who's 14 at home being like, well, I really want to play, but I can't find anybody. But like, great, start. And so, yeah.
That's almost the opposite of my experience, because my awesome brother, who is perfect in every way, and you can't tell me otherwise, gave me the starter set when I was 8 years old. And I just devoured it, and then I bogarted all of his 2nd edition books and devoured all of those and won the 4th grade spelling bee because no one else could spell vengeance. Vengeance is my word.
Oh my God.
And I just loved so much jumping into this world, but there was a sense of empowerment that I got from it that I didn't necessarily have at school as me by myself. But then when I found my friends at the table, and there was always a seat at the table, because in this party, no one person could do it alone.
Yeah.
And so you needed your friends. So I grew up knowing what it was like to feel other, but never feeling like I was othered, because I had this group of people who were just like, yeah, of course you're gonna potentially kill a red dragon, little 4-foot Anjali, like of course that's potentially your future. And so having that sense that there's always somewhere that I belong, even if I didn't have it in the rest of my life, I had it there.
So cool.
And then I had a long period of time where I didn't play between like college and like 2018, which I call the dark days of gaming. In my life, I was like, I have to do more serious things. I don't know what that meant. And then when I came back to it, it was with
the most
friends,
extraordinary people.
Literally the most extraordinary people I could ever have imagined to meet, and some of the most talented, generous, just wonderful people who love story and who love each other. And that's all you really need, is to love story and be excited to spend time with each other.
I think for me, it's funny that Monty tells the story of how he picked it up and then immediately began telling all of his friends about this game. And I never played as a kid. Nobody in my town played Dungeons and Dragons. A lot of people played Magic the Gathering and Warhammer, so I was playing those all the time. And I had an interest in D&D, but just like no avenue to get into it. I had never even seen the books. I just had heard about it as like the nerdiest game in the world, which also I was like, I'm already a big nerd. Maybe I don't want to take the jump into being the biggest nerd.
Lean into that.
Who was I kidding? I was already the biggest nerd. So then when I was a little bit older in my 20s, and I moved to the city and started a job, and Monty and I worked together for a while. And I guess he picked up on the cues when he's like, this guy's a nerd. He plays Magic, he plays Warhammer. And he was like, you ever play D&D? And I'm like, no, but I have always wanted to. And he's like, I will teach you. And I was like, okay. And literally, the famous line, because this is a true story, he showed up to work the next day after we had this conversation, and he had all the books with him, and we had lunch at the same time that day. And so he came up to me on the floor of work and was just like, today we have lunch together, and I'm going to teach you about necromancy. And I was like, I am so excited.
I'm in.
And literally, like, it was my favorite aspect of all the games that I loved growing up. And it was like, even more so than Magic or Warhammer, it was, I love exploring the depth of character and storytelling. I was trying to be a writer-director for a while. That was a difficult business to get into. And like I was trying to write my own novels for a while, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And I'm like, I just want to tell stories, but I kind of also want to be an actor, but I kind of also want to improv, but I kind of also want to write. And it's like,
Hey, you know what that sounds like?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
So all of a sudden, I found this space where I just got to thrive. And I was talking to somebody here at Gen Con just yesterday about the experience of playing Dungeons & Dragons. And I think what's so amazing about it is you're really gathering a group of friends and having the rawest and most vulnerable shared hallucination. Which is this strange thing that happens, that when you play D&D, you're bearing your soul in a way that you don't often do when you're just in normal conversation. And I think that the connection and the bonds that you create through playing D&D with people is sometimes stronger than a lot of other bonds that are out there. And you actually go through something. And the experience you have at the D&D table, the visceral moments of like strong memory that you create of these imagined scenarios, they're just as real as anything else that you do.
Yeah, totally.
And so I think that you end up walking away from the D&D table having like gone through adventures with your friends and creating a bond that will last a lifetime. And I think that's amazing.